Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I am going to show you a famous game which every chess player must know. This game was played in Paris 1858 between Paul Morphy and German Duke Karl II along with Comte Isouard. Paul Morphy is known as the pride and sorrow of chess. Pride because he was such an extraordinary chess player that chess has ever witnessed. And sorrow because after he finished and proved that he is the champion, he returned to his hometown, his home country, America, and he left playing chess. So that is why Paul Morphy is the pride and sorrow of chess. And this specific game is known a night at the opera. So this game was played in an opera house during Bellini's opera norma, and this two duke was playing to Morphy when Morphy was not looking at the board. Morphy was looking at the stage, seeing and listening to the opera and playing chess. You can say that Paul Morphy played this game blindfold. So let's see. Paul Morphy was white and Duke Karl II and Comte Isouard was black. So Paul Morphy started with e4. And imagine in this game, you are the dark square bishop on c1 square and your best friend is the rook on h1. Just imagine that and keep that in your mind. Duke Karl and Comte Isouard played e5. Paul Morphy played knight to f3. And two players playing together played d6. This is known as the Philidor's defense. Paul Morphy played d4, immediately attacking in the center. And if given chance, Paul Morphy would capture on e5, and although the pawn is protected with the d6 pawn, it cannot capture because the queen will recapture the queen. And if king captures the white queen, then black will have lost the castling opportunity in this entire game. So that is why Duke Karl and Comte Isouard played bishop to g4. Paul Morphy captured the pawn on e5, and Duke Karl and Comte Isouard didn't capture on e5, but first eliminated the knight. Paul Morphy recaptured with the queen, and then black captured on e5. Now Paul Morphy played bishop to c4. Now see, the bishop on c4 and queen on f3 is attacking the f7 square. The most weakest square, you must remember, in black's camp, and the f2 square in white's camp. Does this remind you of any position? you are right. The 4-move checkmate. So, knight to f6 was played by Duke Karl II and Comte Isouard. Paul Morphy, pressurizing the f7 square, played queen to b3. And now see, the bishop and the queen battery is lurking towards the f7 square, which is only protected by the king. So, queen to e7 was played, and Paul Morphy played knight to c3. In time past, many grandmasters like Immanuel Lasker, who was friend of Sir Albert Einstein, and Immanuel Lasker was world champion for 27 years, and he was also a mathematician. He said in this position, instead of playing knight to c3, Morphy should have played queen takes b7. But you must remember that Paul Morphy is not a butcher, because queen takes b7 is a butcher's move, and Paul Morphy is an artist. So he develops his pieces knight to c3. And now the threat is knight to d5, attacking the queen to remove it from its defending position. So c6 was played, so the knight on c3 cannot come to d5 square. Paul Morphy played bishop to g5. Now you are being developed. You are the dark square bishop, right? And b5 was played by Duke Karl II and Comte Isouard. And Paul Morphy loved the bishop pair rather than the knight. So Paul Morphy captured the pawn with the knight. They captured back, and Paul Morphy took the pawn on b5 with the bishop, and it's a check. Black defended the check with the knight, with the move knight b to d7. Why not knight f to d7? Because the knight is pinned with the queen. And in this position, Paul Morphy castled low, pressurizing the knight. Duke Karl II and Comte Isouard played rook to d8, defending. Paul Morphy captured the knight. The rook will be captured, and now the rook is pinned. Oh, there is so much tension on the board, and keep that, I'm reminding you again, Paul Morphy is playing without looking at the board. Now your best friend is to be developed. The rook h1 comes to d1, pressurizing the rook, which is pinned to the king, and this pin is known as the absolute pin because the rook cannot move. So in this position, to defend the rook with the knight, Duke Karl II and Comte Isouard played queen to e6. Now the knight is no longer pinned, and the knight can move if the rook recaptures. But in this position, Paul Morphy captured the rook with the bishop with a check. And now The queen cannot capture the bishop because the rook will recapture the queen, and Paul Morphy will have material advantage. So in this position, Duke Karl II and Comte Isouard played knight takes on d7. And Paul Morphy in this position finishes off the game with beautiful pattern. Can you see this? Queen captures the queen. No. Queen to b8. Check. And the king has nowhere to go. Well, it is protected with the knight. So knight captures on b8. And Paul Morphy finishes off the game with your best friend. Rook d8, checkmate. And Paul Morphy wins the game. Thank you for watching this game. I hope you did learn something and enjoy your chess. See you in the next video. See, there is no mistake, no blunder. Bye bye.